Stand here on our right as everybody realises what a moment for Parramatta.
He delivers their first title after 34 seasons. And Jack typically leaves the moment to the players. It is almost 10 minutes. I'm Ken Sutcliffe, and welcome to our tribute to one of the most influential figures in the 100-year history of rugby league, Jack Gibson, the super coach, who sadly passed away aged 79 in the hour counting down to Friday night's centenary test at the SCG. I'm proud to say I worked with Jack and had the pleasure and challenge of interviewing him many times during his coaching career. Over the next 30 minutes, you'll hear many stories told, many great moments revisited, a look at a unique individual. Born on February 27, 1929, in the New South Wales south coast town of Kiama, Jack Gibson's love was sport, cricket and rugby league. He played first-grade cricket in Sydney, but in football he truly excelled. A hard man at Eastern Suburbs, Newtown and West Magpies. Jack made a couple of grand final appearances as a player, captaining the Roosters in 1960 and playing for the Magpies in this SCG mudbath of 1963. He played 154 first-grade matches, and that is very good. But what is great is his time as a coach, beginning in 1967. Because that's what he was, a coach, a mentor. He would redefine the role and leave an imprimatur on the game like no one before him, and perhaps never again. In 1966, East, the quintessential wooden spooners, failed to win a match. Under rookie coach Gibson the following year, they rocketed into the finals.
Laughed the first day he said he was going to be a coach, and he got upset with it. He was angry because, he put the glasses, he used to wear those glasses, and he pushed them back like that. I knew he was angry. And I was so completely wrong because he turned out the greatest coach and the greatest innovator and changed the whole thing for coaching.
One of his greatest legacies will be that he changed the life of coaches. And I don't think just across our game, I think across this country. I don't think anybody recognises, because he was, to me, the first real coach that I ever kind of, gravitated to in this country. And I watched a lot of them, but he had that, he'd been to America on numerous occasions. He brought a lot of stuff back from there. I mean, he was the first guy to do stats, first guy to probably introduce weights in the form that they did, and he was such an innovator in so many areas.
Jones, Walters, Peard, Beatson, Coote stepping out of tackle. There's Mullins with him. There's Harris. Harris hard. Harris for the line. Harris is in. A try.
We used to say little things like, "Don't be last to leave the pub." And we go to a few drinks on a Tuesday night after training, and he'd say, "Don't be last to leave the pub." Well, you see guys would be fair to roll their sleeves up, "Oh, don't go, I've got to get out of here," because they didn't want to be last to leave the pub, because Jack knew who was last to leave the pub, without being pedantic about it or anything. But he just, those subtle things he done, were just, there was a message there, and there was messages in most things he done, and said.
In 1975, under Gibson again, the Roosters achieved their most emphatic of grand final victories, 38-0 over St George. The Supercoach legend was being written, and these were only the early chapters. I mentioned earlier the challenge that was interviewing Big Jack during his career. Many a journalist came off second best. And as we go to a break, here's a collection of Jack in full flight, the words that could cut to the bone or leave you in stitches.
They know where the entrance is, so I don't see that's any attraction to them. To walk around Lang Park, it's only a bit of grass with a fence around it.
You need the criticism, it keeps you awake.
No, I don't want anybody in town putting in the paper some bonehead to say it's a tough, hard game and tell us all about it and what's the legal this and legal that. I don't need any pep talks from dopes in there putting their name in the paper to these things. You know, I don't care who's in there. You can put Mary Poppins in there. We can win. I think they should have selectors selecting selectors. When they pick them, burn them. He said he had his testicles ripped. It's enough to intimidate anybody.
You do your job and I'll do mine.
I'm trying to do mine now. Well, you won't talk to us.
You said that, I didn't. I want to talk to you.
Oh, okay then. Thanks very much.
Yeah, nothing to do with Channel 9.
Right, we'll get someone else. Maybe they can do an interview for you.
You do whatever you like.
Okay, thank you.
You're going to go home and have a feed us.
Well, you get paid to worry. That's all part of the contract. You never look too happy.
So Sterling takes the tap again, and it's almost the same move, and this is David Lydiard. Oh, look at Lydiard go! He'll score, Lydiard! That move has worked sensationally for Parramatta.
Famous wall, so many variations of it. Sterling is down. Watch Sterling, runs behind the wall, has the ball now, and Robinson coming in, taking everybody in sight.
It's a funny thing, we were hoping he'd do that, but we wanted him up quick. But as it happened, he missed the ball carrier. Sterling ran into him.
We had a number of set moves that proved quite successful, others maybe not so successful, but I guess that on top of the list, the crossfield kick where I'd hold the ball for Mick Cronin, place kick, and he would aim it overfield, and probably Ray Price was the target, and the proof was in the pudding. You know, we raised some eyebrows with that, but we had a lot of success. A lot of moves around the wall. You know, the most obvious one, I suppose, was kind of the flying wedge. But there were a lot of variations, a lot of subtle variations where you were looking to sell something when you're actually going to do something else. And very simple ones. Maybe not many passes thrown. It was maybe more of a look than actually intricate plays.
No, he didn't have a lot to say at times, but he listened. And, sometimes it was very much to the point. As I remember a half-time talk where he come in and, he sort of... Like his principles were, you prepare well all week, you play in on Sunday. And I always remember he'd come in at half-time and said, look, we were going, and I said, you blokes probably know more about this game than I do. He said, I'll see you at the end of the game, walked out.
One coaching thing he did, which East were playing terrible, it was raining at half-time. He went down the dressing room and he said, you're all comfortable? They said, yeah. He said, well, get your ass out there and wait for the team to come out. They had to go out and stand in the rain and everything and think about how bad you played in that half. They went on and won the game.
That's one thing he did. If he said something, it happened. It wasn't. I mean, I can remember him dropping Russell Fairfax when Russell turned up late for training, and he just said, "Go over and see Terry Fernley, Russell. He's your coach now," and put him over, put him into second grade because he was late for training.
While he was coaching, the things that used to come up that he would do would never surprise you because he had another little box of tricks somewhere coming. Spent a lot of time on it. He was an absolute learner. He was a student of what he was doing, And as a result, he changed lives around. People who thought were only half a player, Jack could get a couple of real good seasons out of them, And he just changed a lot of people's lives around for the best, Jack.
Innovation and motivation. An insight to the coaching of Jack Gibson from those close to an amazing leader. Here at Channel 9, we were fortunate to experience what his players experienced when he joined our team in commentary for State of Origin.
He's done fine. Well, you can't give him much space. He's really quick. They say he can turn the light out and get in bed before it gets dark. All we're going to see now is some exciting 2-yard runs.
I worked with Jack for a couple of years in the late 80s, and I found it a learning curve, but I found it bewildering at the same time, because he'd jump in with these one-liners and you're trying to call the play-by-play, and it was so profound what he was saying. Even though it was simple, he'd say things like kick it to the seagulls, and if you're standing still you're going backwards, and you'd continue commentary, and for seconds later you'd be saying, what's he mean by kick it to the seagulls? What's he talking about?
The man with us with his expert commentary as usual, the coach of coaches, Big Jack Gibson. Jack, how do you see this one going?
Nobody might win, Mike.
What do you mean by that,
Well,
Jack?
there'll be a lot of emotion out there tonight, and there's 26 players all fired up, and they've only got one man from the TNT Society to look after proceedings.
That's the referee with TNT on his back.
One of a kind as a coach, one of a kind as a commentator. And his role extended even further. Tom Cruise, eat your heart out. Here's Jack, a la Mission Impossible in 1989.
These are battlefield scenes from the last 5 border skirmishes between the Rugby League Principalities of New South Wales and Queensland. In each case, the Queensland forces have inflicted heavy casualties on their neighbours. Intelligence reports that a fresh conflict is now inevitable, and that the Queenslanders have appointed their most experienced field officer, a General Beatson, to lead them into battle. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to take command of the beleaguered Blue Army and turn possible defeat into certain victory. As usual, should any member of your team fail in his mission, the selectors will deny any responsibility for his actions. This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Well, certainly one of the pleasures of my working life too. I did 4 books with Jack, and each one of them was a challenge. I'd be confronted by Jack's exercise books full of immense number of quotes that he'd gathered from overseas. He was a hunter and gatherer when it came to wise words about football. But they were based very much on his own things that struck him as being important in life, and that could be anything from Aristotle to Bob Hope to Plato to Shakespeare. You know, he read them all. He used to amaze me with some of the things he gathered, if he thought they were going to be effective in what he was doing.
It is such irony that a man who collected so many words could so often be a man of so few. Here, 2 heroes of Parramatta's first grand final win recount the now infamous post-match celebration speech.
Like everybody else at Parramatta Leagues Club, after winning that first grand final, I was waiting to hear this eloquent speech that Jack would come out with, not quite knowing what it would be. Thought it'd be lengthy, thought that there'd be a fair bit of content to it, and in the end it was just a few words.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. That was the end of the speech, but the crowd loved it, you know. Could have spoke for another 5 minutes, he wouldn't have got a better result.
And that was Jack. He had an amazing ability to encapsulate a whole lot of meaning in very few words. And when he came out with those words, everybody knew in that instant exactly what he meant. He was able to combine all those years of endeavour and of frustration and so many, a whole gamut of emotions, and he condensed it into a few words, which is now folklore and couldn't have summed up the situation any better.
Throughout this tribute to Jack, we have featured Ron Massey. Mass was Jack's trusted right-hand man during all his coaching successes. A friendship born half a century ago.
I don't know if Jack would have been, you know, Jack, or the great career that he had without Massey, because when you meet the pair of them, you can see the contrast and you can see why it worked. And you know, Ron Massey in his own right's a wonderful, wonderful man, and has certainly great knowledge of the game. Jack had the charisma, he had the persona. Mass was the brains of footy.
He always gave credit, you know, to his players and to his staff, everyone like that. He shared the credit around. It'd be hard to prove not to give himself a pat on the back, I suppose, but he never made that he never gave me that impression that he was patting himself on the back.
They've remained great friends all their life. I think it's pretty special the way they've stayed together. And I remember when Ron was really sick, Jack came to the hospital and to see him, and the nurse said, only family allowed. Jack said, I am family.
He lived to feeding for people to be better, you know, to help people to be better in their lives. And that, I think you'll find that would be what all the players would say about him. They not only made, Jack never only made them better footballers, he made them better men. And their life was much better for him, as mine was.
McCabe. Parramatta's ball. Here's trouble for Manly. Lydiard has it. Lydiard a pass back inside, picked up by Kenny. I think it is Kenny. He has scored the first try. He has. Here's a nice pass. Armella. Quick hands. He's Growth. The big man Growth. Stevie forward. He's Growth. He's taken by Eddie, but that's a try. Oh, he's got it again. The human powerhouse, and up go the blue and gold. And there it is. It's all over. Parramatta are champions again.
One of the coolest customers all year, Jack. I've never seen you look so relieved.
Well, as long as you don't ask me whether I'm confident, I expect to win.
How do you feel now at this very moment?
Well, I feel tremendous. It's been a tremendously long day. And, I suppose I felt how I felt in defeat. Well, I feel exactly the opposite.
That would be the last of Jack's 5 premiership triumphs as a coach. It was also the last time a club has completed 3 consecutive grand final victories. So we make our final salutes to the super coach, the man recently voted coach of the team of the century. This was not a tag he wanted, nor an honour he craved, but they were thoroughly warranted and richly deserved. At 6:32 on Friday night, Rugby League lost an icon and friend, and we'll leave the final thoughts to some of his closest mates and again reflect on some of this great Australian's footballing wisdom.
You didn't need to talk to Jack for 15 minutes. You know, 5 minutes was enough. You'd have picked up a wisdom or a bit of a really sound advice in that very short period of time, and you just felt good about yourself that you'd been in his presence.
If you know Jack, you'll never forget him. You know, he's a person that you'll know him all your life, and like if you're his mate, you're his mate. You stick like a rock.
If people wanted to improve themselves, Jack wanted to help them. And so I see him as the great teacher. He was certainly the great teacher of rugby league, no doubt about that. And the legacy will live on in these great players that he produced, who loved him and played for him. And they learnt from him, and they'll never forget that.
Well, Jack's up in heaven now, and I reckon he'd be working on his first coaching assignment. He's got a ready-made 13, the Lord Jesus Christ, the 12 disciples. I wonder will they understand him?
It's a sense of relief because of the way he was at the finish, which is well known. But it's a great loss because, he's had such an influence on my life, and we've been together through a lot of things, and I love him and I'm going to miss him. So
we don't have the time, and I don't have the words to describe Jack Gibson as the man, the friend, the football coach. He was an extraordinary man, and it's difficult to describe extraordinary because it is what it is. But I know even to this day, the way I lead my life, the way I treat people, the kind of husband, the kind of father I am, is because of the influence of Jack Gibson.